Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Indiana State Police Roadshow. I'm your host, Sergeant John Perrine, the Public Information Officer for the Indiana State Police Indianapolis District. The Roadshow is brought to you by the Indiana State Police Alliance and Cops for Kids, a subsidiary of the State Police Alliance. For more information about our sponsor, visit www.indianasfinest.com. We want to thank Network Indiana and our good friend Sam in the booth today, pushing buttons, getting us on the radio across the great state of Indiana. We certainly appreciate our partnership with them and the use of their studio. If you're seeing us on YouTube, it is thanks to the work of our good friend Tom Trial. Indiana State Police YouTube channel is full of amazing content, hours and hours of entertainment. My kids want to be on YouTube all the time, so maybe I can direct them there, and they'd rather watch ISP historical videos. I don't know. So thanks to two guests in the studio today. One from the Indianapolis District, that's Trooper Josh Thayer. Thanks for coming in, Josh.
Thank you.
And from headquarters is Sergeant Corey Burfield. Corey?
Hey, thanks for having us.
Yeah, very cool to have you guys here. And we're here to talk about the Indiana State Police Honor Guard team. And I'll mention the reason these guys are dressed down in polos today is they just came from an Honor Guard detail. And so when they do an Honor Guard detail, they put on what we call our dress blouse, which is quite a lot of work. To switch your uniform over. And so just to stop by the studio on the way back, we brought them in polos. So thanks for coming, guys.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Happy to be here.
So I know you've been on the Honor Guard for a long time. You were on the Honor Guard since a brand new rookie. I know that.
Yeah.
And I've been on the Honor Guard as well for a while. I'm not nearly as active now as I used to be, but certainly an honorable thing to do. So Corey, what is the ISP Honor Guard, and kind of what are some of the things we do?
ISP Honor Guard is based into 3 teams. There's a total of 75 spots on the Indiana State Police Honor Guard. There are 3 teams, again, like I said, North, Central, and South, and each zone or each section has 25 units or 25 troopers that make up the North, Central, and South team. The purpose of this is so that way we can span the entire state of Indiana. We cover everything from public appearances, flag presentations. Some of the finer details that we've got to do was present the colors for the IHSAA basketball championships, which is always a pleasure to do that with them. But we also do hometown parades. We do color presentations for organizations when they have seminars or big gatherings or meetings and things like that. So we also do details for our department, retiree funerals, and also line of duty deaths for not only our department, but for all other agencies. We try to assist them with any type of Honor Guard service or any service possible.
Yeah, and so it is a lot. And I'll tell you, we'll start with kind of the first thing you think of when you think about a police honor guard are the police funerals. And I've been around several, and if you ever want to see the textbook definition of teamwork, you go to any of these planning meetings leading up to a police funeral, and that is everybody has a job. And it may be a major part or it may be something completely behind the scenes that nobody will ever even know happened, but it's important. And so talk about some of the things that go into, we dread those days, the days of one of our brothers or sisters being killed in the line of duty and having to plan that funeral. But on the other side of that, it's such an honorable thing to do to show the family and the friends and the department what this person meant to the community. And so talk about just leading up to what are some of the things from the moment we find out that really starts rolling into place.
Oh, absolutely. The moment an officer is killed in the line of duty, honors are immediately being rendered. Officers are never left alone from the time that they are killed all the way to the time where they are finally laid to rest. So throughout that duration, there are so many planning meetings, so many details, intricate details that may, like you said, may be very small to very large, but everything is covered, and they're also double-checked and triple-checked, and making sure that we have enough to give the recognition for that officer's service. And there are just so many intricate details, from the number of people that you will need to the logisticals needs for people to provide seating, for people to provide parking, for things at the grave site, to making sure that the family is taken care of. Family is the most important thing. And much like you said, a lot of the things that we try to do, even though we're up front, we like to do things more in the background. This is not about us. Yes, we are in the forefront. We are dressed dressed up. We're there in our very best. But again, that is in the recognition of that officer, that we are there for them, to give them that tribute, that honor for their service and sacrifice that they gave to us, that we can at least do something to give back to them and give something for that family to remember, to hold on, to cherish, knowing that they are and will forever be taken care of and cared for as a member of the Indiana State Police or any law enforcement agency.
And Josh, talk about the feeling of just being a part of that, whatever you're doing, to have that opportunity to honor that fallen officer in that way. Talk about what that feels like during those moments.
Yeah, it's when I became a trooper, one of the things I've always said was it's such an honor to be something that's so much bigger than yourself. And for me, when I came on the Indiana State Police, the Honor Guard was something that really truly kind of encapsulated that for me. What greater honor, what better opportunity to not just to serve my community, but to serve those that have lost loved ones, to recognize those that have gone before me, to the point of dying for a good cause, doing what they do for the sake of others. And so for me, being part of this Honor Guard team was about that, and being part of a team of individuals who are like-minded, who feel the same way I do. And every time I have the opportunity to shine the belt buckle on the belt, or to be sure the pins are exactly how they need to be, it's a very sobering and a humbling reminder of not only what we do each and every day, day in and day out, working the road and in our respective capacities, but to think about those families that don't have that, to think about the family that doesn't have the trooper at their house shining his brass or shining his shoes. And so for me, it's just about being part of something that's so much bigger than me, and it's been pretty honoring.
Yeah. And with the Honor Guard, those sombering moments are also some really cool moments when you get to sit back and just see everything come together, all the work that people put into, little things that happen that the public, the family, they don't know needed to happen.
Yeah.
I think about Trooper Bailey's funeral and the logistics that went into just preparing that cemetery for that large of a gathering was a lot more than just showing up. And so people stepped in, people donated things, people donated time. Yeah. And they didn't ask for recognition. They just did it because it was the right thing to do. Absolutely. And that's really cool. But also as a member of the Honor Guard, we get to be part of some really cool things. Like you said, some big events. I've been able to do Honor Guard at Pacer games, and we've been involved in the Colts games and, things like that. But you also recently, several times, have had the opportunity to go to Washington, D.C. for Police Week, which is what a cool experience that is.
Absolutely. National Police Week in Washington, D.C. is a phenomenal experience. It is a very moving experience as well, because you are realizing that even as of this year, and I may be corrected later, but they recognized almost 435 officers nationwide that were killed in the line of duty, which, again, it is a time to honor those and to have those families recognized of their sacrifice, and they are their brothers, their sisters, their fathers, their kids, their somebody's child, that are recognized and memorialized on a wall for eternity now in a monument in Washington, D.C. And so it is very moving. You get there and you see law enforcement agencies from all over the world, not just the United States, but all over the world there, and some of their officers are also recognized on the monument wall. And to be a part of something such a large scale, to where, yes, large line of duty deaths even in Indiana are large scale, but this is on the largest scale possible. It's just absolutely humbling. And this year we actually had a very great opportunity to be able to lay a wreath at Arlington National Cemetery at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier with a group of our Honor Guard guys who represent not only the Indiana State Police but also Indiana, and laying this wreath on the Tomb of the Unknown. And that was a very humbling experience. If you have ever looked up the Tomb of the Unknown, those sentinels are so squared away and polished and just in an impressive unit. And to walk out onto that platform and stand right next to those guys and be able to do that, and knowing that you did a good job, again, it was It was an amazing experience. And these are the things that we get to do, all the time, much like you said. We've had units that have been able to do a color presentation at the Brickyard 400, which is on a national stage in front of everybody, looking their best, and being able to represent. And it's a wonderful feeling, and it's good to know that we have these opportunities to present to these guys that work so hard. And hopefully that brings in new interest for younger troopers that say, hey, this is a really cool experience, and it's a really humbling team, and it's maybe something they would be interested in later.
And so talk about if a trooper wants to be a part of the Honor Guard. It hasn't been very long, that we've had an official Honor Guard team. Years ago, it was if we had some troopers that took interest in helping with a funeral or a presentation, they would just go. But probably 10 or 12 years ago, maybe a little more, they came up with an actual team. But talk about what it takes to get on that team, or how we go out and recruit new members.
Well, much like any specialty team on the Indiana State Police, we actually go through a process. There's an application that is completed by a trooper that does show interest. We also go out and when we have new recruits come to the field, based on what their needs of their district are, we let them complete their primary year, making sure that they know their job. And then we reach out to these guys going, hey, this guy looks really sharp. Maybe he would be interested. And to also which time we reach out to the district commanders, knowing, do you think this would be a good fit for what we are trying to do, the mission that we have for the Indiana State Police Honor Guard? Once the application is completed, it actually goes through a review process. Commanders all the way up the chain to the protocol sergeant, Sergeant Todd Harless, who is the Honor Guard commander of the entire State Police Honor Guard. He gets his final stamp and says, okay, we're going to move to the next step. To which time we take this next step, we go to an interview process. They come, they sit down in front of a board, they answer several questions, making sure they look dressed and pressed. They have a written test that they also take too. Well, not a written test, but more along a knowledgeable test. We send them the information for the questions that we will ask them. They get scored onto the interview, and it's a situation to where, hey, guys try their best. Sometimes they don't just quite make it. And if they still have the interest, they have the ability to apply again, or where they can go through the process again. And then when guys do make it onto the team, they are put onto a year probationary period. The number of details that they do, making sure that they represent. And we try to hold ourselves to a higher standard, being out on the road, making sure our uniforms always look squared away, everything is clean, making sure that we carry our names as the Honor Guard out there to the world, going, yes, I am a part of the Indiana State Police Honor Guard, and I will always carry myself in a higher way of representing the department, making sure that I give my best foot forward when I'm out in public. So that's kind of how that starts.
Yeah. And so, Josh, you talked briefly about your interest in Honor Guard when you first came on, but what was it that made you say, I want to do that? I want to be a member of the Indiana State Police Honor Guard.
Yeah. Like I said earlier, it's just about bringing respect and honors to those families. I mean, like Sergeant Burfield said a second ago, I was approached early on by some of the guys on the Honor Guard team and said, hey, Josh, have you thought about doing this? And
that's flattering by itself, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You've caught somebody's attention.
Yeah, I was flattered when they asked me. And to be honest with you, at first I didn't know a lot about what it was or what they did. And so I said, yeah, I'd be interested. So I took some time to learn and get to know a little bit more about what they do. But for me, the why was, like I said, just in order to honor those families. I think of even those days where you're standing at attention, or you're out in the sun, or you're holding the door for a long time, or you're just standing there because that's what's required of you. And the tendency might be, oh wow, this is okay, all right. But every single detail, I'm reminded, well, you know what? This is hard for me, but that family wishes that their son or daughter was here today.
Yeah.
And it's those moments, it's those times where I'm brought all the way back to the stark reminder of why I do what I do and why I'm on the team.
And one of the coolest things is, I think, is retiree funerals. Not because it's one, all the retirees that you don't really know show up and you get a chance to meet those guys. But when you honor this person who's been separated from ISP, sometimes for 40 or 50 years, and what it means to that family to have ISP be part of that ceremony is just, it'll bring a tear to your eye every time.
It's incredible.
And I hope you can even note on this as well. You've done the casket watch during even regular line of duty death or retirees. We do a casket watch to be able to hear the history of these retirees, come up and talk to the families, and then hear the families speak at the funerals to find out what they did in the 40s and the 50s and the 60s and on the history of the state police. It's amazing to hear these stories and be able to be a part of that family's continued history with the state police, going, thank you again for your service, and we are still part of you, and don't be afraid to reach out. So
certainly means a lot. And I want to thank Trooper Josh Thayer and Sergeant Corey Brewerfield for coming in and talking about the Indiana State Police Honor Guard, something that we all take pride in, and it's an honorable thing for us to do. So thank you everybody for listening to the Indiana State Police Roadshow, brought to you by the Indiana State Police Alliance and Cops for Kids, a subsidiary of the State Police Alliance. I hope everybody has a safe week. Buckle your seatbelt, drive safely, and enjoy the sunshine.